Production of Kansas City Week in Review is made possible through the generous support of Dave and Jamie Cummings, Smithfield Foods, Haas and Wilkerson Insurance, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Coming up that quick, a single-terminal KCI on a flight path to an August vote. A crippling blow, but is it dead? The latest on the Missouri Freedom Amendment. And Brownback making national news as Kansas becomes the first state to withdraw from the nation's refugee resettlement program and preparing for a party. Great to have you with us again. I'm Nick Haynes. We'll be dissecting those stories and connecting the dots on some other big local headlines over the next 30 minutes. Tracking those stories for us, the Kansas City Star's City Hall reporter Lynn Horsley. From the news desk at KMBZ, Bill Grady. Pitch reporter Steve Vokrot. And Star reporter, columnist and blogger Dave Helling. You know, it always seemed like something way in the future, but could you now be voting on a new $1 billion terminal at KCI Airport this August? The airlines have reached an agreement and they go to City Hall this week to call for a single terminal design to be placed on the ballot this summer. They say they will not entertain any renovation plan at KCI, but have agreed to help finance and back the debt involved in building a new 35-gate terminal with a projected price tag of $964 million. Yes, the airlines concede the project would increase their costs of doing business here, but that increase would be $2.10 per passenger, keeping overall fees relatively low in Kansas City compared with what airlines pay to operate at other medium-sized airports.
Airlines have agreed to the new terminal concept. The airlines have agreed to take the financial risk for the project. The airlines agree to back the debt. The airlines do not support any other terminal alternative, and the airlines are asking for your support and that an August 2016 referendum is requested.
Now, it was the mayor's response that was perhaps the most revealing this week. Mayor James saying, if we miss this moment, then the opportunity will be gone for years. A single terminal is inevitable. The question is when. If you think something is inevitable, do it now. So does that mean it's all but a done deal that this will be on the August ballot, Lynn?
No.
After all that? Okay.
The City Council still needs to vote on ballot language by May 19th to get something on the August ballot, and I am not sure they're there yet. Obviously the mayor is, and some of the council members are. Some of the council members have been talking about this for 5 years, but we have a new batch of council members, and some of them are either extremely critical of this plan or still on the fence. So a lot has to happen in the next couple of weeks to get it on the August ballot. I don't yet know whether it will materialize that quickly.
But there's like 3 weeks there, Bill Grady, and when the mayor wants something, doesn't he get it?
Well, I'm not sure this time that that's going to come into play. I was talking with Councilmember Dan Fowler the other day, and he said, you know, I don't think that May 19th, if we get something hammered out by then, is going to give us enough time to adequately sell this project to the voters, because there's a huge sentimental attachment to KCI, you know, the drop off and pick up, and people don't think about some of the other things.
Is there an attraction of putting this on the ballot in August versus November? Is it easier for the city to do that in terms of getting voters to say yes? Steve?
It's hard to say. I can't really figure out what the precise motivation is to get it on the ballot so soon. I mean, the airlines have said something generally about, you know, the sooner we get this done, the better, because construction prices go up the more you wait. But, you know, the difference between an August and a November ballot isn't that different. So in terms of, you know, whether prices are going to go up. My concern, if you accept the proposition that Kansas City needs a new terminal and you need to get this passed by the voters, is does it happen too quick? And we've seen in somewhat recent history that if you kind of put something on a ballot really quickly and you assume that it's just going to pass, the opposite tends to be true. I think we saw that with the translational research tax, certainly, which isn't, don't get me wrong, that's not an apples to apples comparison. But, you know, the streetcar extension, I think, was done somewhat similarly, and if you lay the groundwork and meet with people and tell them what's going on, you have a better chance of getting things passed. If you do it quickly, that could hurt your chances.
But there is a different audience from an August election and a November election, Dave.
Quite different. In November, the possibilities of error are higher because the turnout is much, much higher. And so identifying an electorate that would be predisposed to supporting a new airport will be more difficult if you wait. On the other hand, August, low turnout, you don't know what can happen in those situations sometimes. The opposition can be heard more than they would be heard in November because there are competing messages from other candidates and that type of thing going on. But a couple of points, Nick. I don't even think November, it's pretty clear they won't have a firm design available even by November. And if the campaign swings to some degree on will this be as convenient as the current KCI, and voters don't know that answer even in November, it might be more problematic. The other thing to keep in mind is if they lose this time, they'll almost certainly want to come back and try again. But it would set back the effort for a year, maybe 18 months, because you'd have to sort of go through all these steps again trying to convince people. So this is a question the council really needs to get right if it wants to build a new airport.
One of the things that you put to Steve was the rush to get this done. I think philosophically there is a feeling at City Hall that we are pulling out of a slump. And this is one more step. We've got Google Fiber. We do have at least the beginning of a streetcar line, the big Cerner complex. And I think that there is this philosophical feeling that we've moved away from that business as usual mindset, and this is one more step.
Well, one KCPT viewer writing in this week, expect a name change too. Hugh in Peculiar, Missouri worries that that's an unstated intention. Keep the name as it should be, he asks. Kansas City International Airport. Would they rename the airport, Lynn?
I've not heard anything, but right now calling it Kansas City International Airport is kind of ridiculous because we don't really have many international flights. In fact, that's one of the motivations for building a new terminal is you would have a better international portal.
But that's no guarantee either.
No, I've not heard any discussion about a name change.
Dave.
Just quickly, the other thing to keep in mind, and maybe a name change might play into this, is Kansas City supporters of a new airport are going to have to get people excited, voters excited, who never use the airport. I mean, the assumption is that people will be voting on convenience or closeness or whatever, but the vast majority of Kansas Cityans never fly, never go anywhere. So they're going to have to develop some sort of campaign to say, this is why it's important to you. Now, my guess is jobs, they'll argue. They've already sort of put out a ridiculous figure of how many jobs would be created. Convenience, gateway to the city, and a name change might play into that a little.
And we never honored our former mayor, Mark Funkhauser, so it could be
Funkhauser Airport is not like
I don't think that's in the offing. Just very quickly, a lot of people wonder, why are we voting on this? Because it doesn't involve general taxpayer dollars. There's a quirk in Missouri law that talks about a vote being needed for revenue bonds, and that's what these would be. Plus, the city promised there would be a vote, so there needs to be a vote.
A religious freedom amendment to the Missouri Constitution was defeated this week in a House committee after a half hour of emotional testimony that left many in the room in tears. The House Emerging Issues Committee deadlocked 6 votes for and 6 votes against the measure, dealing a likely fatal blow to one of the most controversial bills of the 2016 legislative session. But while the bill is now on life support, it's not dead yet. Remember, the amendment has already passed the Senate, and some very upset Republicans and religious group leaders immediately announced they would try to quickly revive the issue. For the bill to move forward, 82 representatives can vote to pull it out of committee. Now, remember, there are 163 lawmakers serving in the Missouri House. 116 of them are Republicans. Doesn't that seem potentially doable with 2 weeks still left of this legislative session, Bill?
Well, the Kansas City Chamber of Commerce certainly hopes not. And speaking with Joe Reardon just a couple of days ago, he said they understand they are not out of the woods. They strongly oppose SJR 39. And what he said was that when you consider all the athletic events that we draw to town over a period of years, the losses for the city could literally be in the billions. And we've seen some negative effects in other states where similar legislation is passed. So I can't see that it would be brought back to life, but there's a possibility.
Steve.
My understanding, and my colleagues will correct me if they understand differently, but my understanding was that GOP leadership in Missouri was not too keen on pulling this out once again before the session ends, in part because of the rift that it's creating within the party. I mean, you've got a Republican Party in Missouri that holds strong majorities in both houses, or both sections of the General Assembly, and this is sort of one of these issues that's really kind of tearing at that what otherwise should be a formidable force politically. it's driving a wedge between different factions of the GOP. I don't think they're too keen on revisiting this.
Down but not out, Dave?
Well, nothing is ever finished at the state legislature until it's finished, until the gavel comes down, and so things could change in the next couple of weeks, as you suggest, Nick. But Steve's right. I think there is some division within the Republican Party, not only about the bill itself, but whether or not it can motivate people to get to the polls, as some people thought it would. And there have been stories in recent days that it isn't just athletic events, but broadly speaking, in other states and in Missouri, corporate America is growing increasingly A, involved, and B, concerned about measures like this, because they think it hurts job retention and recruitment. Businesses want to attack the best and brightest employees if they can, and states that enact this type of thing far beyond conventions and basketball games and other similar events make it harder to recruit younger voters to those states and those communities. And so I think there's a pushback from the the corporate wing of the Republican Party that makes it even more problematic.
This time next week, Kansas City's new streetcar system will be up and running. Elaborate plans are in place for a big party all along the 2-mile route from the River Market to Union Station. This week, the city launches its new official streetcar song.
How we gonna get around when we get on down? Man, I gotta make a move, time to get downtown. Hit the streetcar, then I'ma hit uptown. Cause I gotta get this money, then I sit on down. Cause tonight I'm finna have me a good old time. Spend a couple dollars on this good old time.
That's the rapper Kemet the Phantom with the official streetcar song Get Out. Is there anything we need to know that might throw a wrench, though, in the city's plans to have all 4 of these streetcars up and running and ready to board next Friday at 10 a.m., Lynn Horsley?
I think they're ready to go. They said they're burning in the 4th car, which means they're getting that one, all the testing and training done on that 4th car. So they appear ready to go. Now, there is a lawsuit by the bus drivers, and they are contending that they should have had first crack at these operator jobs. There was supposed to be an arbitration that's gotten put off until June, and that is still a challenge to this system, but the opening day will happen no matter what.
No, I see they're having carnival rides downtown for this, Bill Grady. There's going to be music and food and all manner of entertainment going on all along the route. Are we expecting sort of Kansas City Royals World Series size parades and crowds going downtown for this next Friday?
That may be overshooting the runway a bit, but what I can tell you is that I think that a lot of people downtown that have seen the testing, and it's not just business downtown anymore, you have a lot of residential, and a number of folks that are involved in either the residential or commercial have asked me, we see the thing goes, when is it going to go? There seems to be kind of a core of excitement in that area. I don't know about the burbs.
Steve.
Well, there's going to be a lot of promotion for this, the 2 days that it's open, and probably well beyond that. And it's pretty clear to me that a lot of that is meant to build momentum for the expansion that City Hall and other interests definitely want to do for this this project. They're going to try and capture these images of the streetcars getting packed, people partying around it, however many people that might be, and they're going to use that for a lot of promotion for the next
including our Olympics bid for the future. Yes, Lynn.
One thing people keep asking me is how much does it cost to ride it?
Yes.
It's free.
So you don't have to be looking for tokens and loose change.
Which is why Steve is precisely right that all this promotion is about something other than ridership, because it doesn't put any extra money in the pockets of the people running the streetcar, so there can only be one other reason, and that is to build enthusiasm for the system and see if they can expand it down the road.
Well, last week there were shockwaves over the death of a music legend, Prince, found dead at the age of 57. His last appearance in Kansas City was in 2004. Here's part of that performance. Where did he play? Kemper Arena. Many Kansas Cityans have experienced some of the most memorable moments of their lives at Kemper. Today, though, virtually nothing is happening at the aging facility. Even area school districts like Blue Valley, who have long held graduation ceremonies there, have moved to new locations this year. Lynn Horsley, are there any events even held at Kemper Arena anymore?
If there are, I'm not aware of them. They've really pretty much mothballed it, and the city is trying to find a new use for Kemper Arena that doesn't compete with the Sprint Center. There were 2 proposals for a reuse. I'm told that one of them is really probably more viable than the other, but the city is still weighing those 2 proposals, and people keep saying, well, what's the delay? partly, I think, this preoccupation with the streetcar and other priorities. They also are just now paying off all the bonds that they did for a 1990s improvement to Kemper. So they really couldn't sell the building until then anyway. But I do think before the next month is out, we should have a better idea of what direction they're going to go with Kemper Arena.
You know, we recently found out that the U.S. ice skating championships were going to be held next year in Kansas City, Steve Ockrott, and it was going to be at Sprint Center and the Silverstein Ice Center's arena in Independence. Kemper Arena not even part of this, even as a secondary facility.
No, and that was, you know, that was one of the problems, if you will, when the city leaders devised the idea for Sprint Center. Is they kind of promised people who had just not too many years prior had approved funding for Kemper Arena's upgrades. They said, well, you know, we're going to keep Kemper Arena for, you know, mud events was the thing that they always said, you know, things like monster truck rallies and rodeos and things like that. But, you know, it's like anything else, when you have something that's new and shiny and you've got promoters who want to be part of it, they will want to be part of what's new and not what's old. And as time wore on, there were fewer events at Kemper, and, you know, and now even the graduations have gone away.
Okay, so there's no definitive plan still at this point?
Well, I think the most logical plan is the one that's been proposed by Fouch Brothers, which would turn it into kind of a mecca for youth sports and also a lot of adult team-type sports. That seems to be fairly viable. I know the city really hopes that will work out, but we don't have any real details yet.
Kansas Governor Sam Brownback had already made news by signing an executive order declaring Kansas would not accept any Syrian refugees. Now the Republican governor doesn't want refugees from anywhere. He announces he's withdrawing Kansas from the entire federal refugee resettlement program. The reason? Safety fears. The state receives more than $2 million a year in federal aid to help settle refugees. But the Brownback administration insists federal officials have failed to provide adequate assurances about their vetting processes. Kansas is the first state to withdraw from the federal refugee program because of security concerns. When the state of Kansas is already facing a $290 million deficit, why is the governor, though, picking a fight that will put the state $2 million more in the financial hole?
Well, it's not about money, Nick, of course. It's about sending a signal to Kansans that the governor still doesn't like Barack Obama, and that in a time of fiscal disaster, we can divert the state's attention away from how poorly the state is being run to these other ancillary issues. I don't think the people of Kansas completely understand how unpopular Sam Brownback is right now. I mean, in virtually every public opinion poll. But it's pulling down other Republicans as well, Nick. There was a poll yesterday of all 100 senators conducted online. I forget the name of the organization. In each state to determine popularity. Pat Roberts and Jerry Moran were in the bottom 10 of popularity in the state of Kansas compared to other states. Bernie Sanders, by the way, won. So it suggests to you that the Republican brand in Kansas is really, really reeling because of these budget problems. And my guess is this announcement, as is the case in a lot of announcements from the Brownback office, is more about politics and criticizing Democrats than it is about the nature of the policy.
But it does strike a chord, the refugee issue, with many in the public. But what's been interesting about this, Bill Grady, is that the State Department is still saying, okay, we're still going to resettle refugees in Kansas. Don't states have rights even if the state is withdrawing from this program? Why is it that the federal government would still settle refugees in the state even when the state says no?
Well, because they have the power to do that. And they trump state law. And one other thing that I think is really interesting about all this, the governor made his announcement on Tuesday. Now we're taping Friday, so yesterday, Thursday, the House Homeland Security Committee, at the invitation of Lynn Jenkins, heard from the Leavenworth County attorney about keep the terrorists in Gitmo, don't allow them. Now, I don't know if there are dots to connect there, but it does seem to feed into this, we really need to keep the state safe. And as Dave said, you know, that does draw attention away from these huge money problems.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Kansas City's GM plant in Kansas City, Kansas was making national news when General Motors announced it was shifting production of a brand new Cadillac SUV from its Michigan assembly facility to KCK. Now this week, the plant is being idled. Why? Blame that on events halfway around the world. The 3,500 workers at the Fairfax plant who build the Chevy Malibu and Buick LaCrosse have been told to stay home for the next 2 weeks because of the recent earthquake in Japan. Some of the parts used in those vehicles are made there, and the earthquakes damaged the factories that make those parts. Now, this seems rather remarkable that events 6,000 miles away, halfway around the world, can have such a massive impact right here in our own backyard. Is this a poster child example that we live in a global economy, Steve Ockrott?
Well, certainly, and I would suggest that the automotive industry is probably more global than most industries you could put your finger on. I mean, cars that are described as imports are made in the United States, and domestic automobiles are sold increasingly in other countries. And so, yeah, it's a very interconnected industry, and you know, this area rides the highs of the automotive industries and the lows of it as well.
Dave.
Many years ago, about 20, 25 years ago, when the American automobile industry began to slip and the Japanese auto industry ascend, experts from the United States studied how the Japanese assemble their cars to try and understand how they could do it better than American factories and spend less money. And one of the things they learned is the Japanese use a system called just-in-time inventory, which is, instead of stacking doors and seats and engine blocks to the ceiling, the American automobile manufacturers got much smarter about making sure that their supply chain was, you know, a couple of days worth of supplies. It was cheaper, less storage space, that type of thing. So disruptions are much more, the good news is it's cheaper. The bad news is disruptions are much more likely. They just don't have these parts sitting around. That's playing a part in what's happening over in Fairfax.
It raised eyebrows when it was announced that the Country Club Plaza was up for sale last year. What would it mean for Kansas City's foremost retail destination center? Well, this week, Zona Rosa is looking for a buyer. The 12-year-old shopping and entertainment spot just south of KCI Airport was touted as the Northland's answer to the plaza when it opened 12 years ago. Is the retail mecca in trouble, Steve Ockrott?
I don't really know that there's any evidence that it is in any real trouble. I think we're kind of in a cycle right now. I mean, you saw the Legends went up for sale as well. Part of the issue that I see kind of more broadly is with retail in Kansas City is there seems to be more retail that's added than there is demand for new retail. You've got a lot of proposals for these, you know, very large retail centers, and some of them are stalling. You know, Mission Gateway stalled for a long time. Mission South or Metcalf South never fully got off the ground. You know, it's possible that the owners, these out-of-town owners of these retail centers, see an opportunity of places like Zona Rosa are at the highest and best use. Let's sell it while we can make the most money we can off of it and move on to other parts of our portfolio.
When we do a show like this, I like to pour through old articles on each of these stories. And looking through Zona Rosa, you really don't see the controversy about that particular venue as you do other places. When you think about the Country Club Plaza, has for many years been mired over issues of teens rampaging on the plaza, and everyone has had issues. This has basically been a shopping area that has been free of controversy, Lynn.
Yes, that's true. Number one, it's more remote. I mean, the plaza is sort of really in the middle of the metro area. It's easier for a lot of people to get to, including a lot of teenagers. Zona Rosa is not far from KCI in the Northland. I do remember when Zona Rosa was being planned, city officials were skeptical about whether it really could work or not. And I think it's exceeded expectations. It's not the plaza, but for Northlanders, it's really a great oasis of good retail and restaurants, and it does draw large crowds.
And just to add to what I was saying earlier, it's worth keeping in mind that Metro North, the old mall just a few miles to the east of Zona Rosa, is set to probably become redeveloped sometime soon, so that may have been another reason that the owners decided, let's get out now while the getting's good.
Well, the other reason, just quickly, is it may be that real estate investors are worried about the national political environment, and that Hillary Clinton, if elected, might propose changes in tax policy that would impact trusts and other. So it may be that there'll be some churn before Election Day based on that fear.
Next weekend, part of a Kansas City icon disappears. They were loathed and lampooned by many when they were first revealed in 1994. I'm talking about what some irreverently called the hair curlers above Bartle Hall. More accurately, the Metal Sky Station art installations that were approved as part of the city's 1% for Public Art program. Now it's revealed the right pylon has been struck by lightning. The City Council has just approved a $1.6 million fix, which will involve the removal by helicopter next weekend. That repair cost, by the way, way, more than the price tag for the entire art installation 22 years ago. The City Council has approved the money, but they're not laying off police officers, cutting back on trash collection or the snow removal budget to pay for it. Right, Lynn?
Correct. They did have insurance,
Okay.
which will pay the vast bulk of this, is short of the deductible. And also, I think they feel like this artwork is now worth quite a bit more than it was when it was installed. And more than that, it's become kind of a symbol of downtown skyscrapers, you know, skyline. It's rather iconic now, and it's worth preserving.
You know, I saw in some stories they're talking about when ESPN comes to town, they will show the Bartle Hall, you know, hair curlers as, you know, as one of the most iconic images in the city. Is it the most iconic image, Dave?
Well, it's iconic. I mean, it is still controversial. It's hard to find a lot of people who are still in love with the hair curlers on Bartle Hall. You know, one of the things they always talk about is they're whimsical. We've got a lot of whimsical art in Kansas City. We've got shuttlecocks, we've got the hair curlers. You know, at one time, I don't even know what they've done with it, the statue down at police headquarters with the tie in the mouth.
Yeah, they moved it a little bit, moved it more into a corner of that same area.
You know, that was also part of the 1% for Art program, and so I think people are not as amused by the hair curlers as they might have been 20
And some of the most
years
controversial art in most recent years has been actually in Overland Park, where at the Arboretum they had the sexting, bare-breasted woman statue, Steve.
Yep, and that's still there. You know, you go back in time a little bit, Stan Glazer, when he was running for mayor back in 2007, one of his more colorful proposals was to build this monster Ferris wheel, if I'm remembering correctly, and his point was that Kansas City really lacks a true iconic symbol of the likes of, you know, a comparison might be the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. And I mean, that wasn't enough to get him out of a crowded primary. But Kansas City, he was right. Kansas City does sort of lack that true iconic feature.
And that is our Week in Review. Our thanks to our news reviewers. I'm Nick Haynes. From all of us here at KCPT, thanks for spending part of your weekend with us.